This is Dovydas from Crypts of Despair and Luctus, and I'll see you in Tampa Morgue.
What's up, and thank you for listening to the Tampa Morgue. This is episode number 27. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, the one and only Mr. Ed Webb. What's up, dude?
Mr. Anderson, what's going on, brother? 27, huh?
27, huh? I wish I was 27
Who'd have
again.
thought?
Yeah, that's who thought,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I'll take
The
20.
things I could do now.
27,
Yeah.
I only knew. But yeah, man, 27. It was actually, and our guest knows this too tonight, that is almost negative 27 here this week over where I'm located.
I remember you showing me that picture, negative 25. I was like, now I'm good.
Yeah, it was some crazy temperature that I don't think I've ever been in that cold before. I think that was the coldest I've ever been in. You know, and
25 sucks, let alone adding the negative to that number.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I'm seeing everyone in Florida bitch about like 50 and 45 Fahrenheit.
Listen,
I'm like,
you didn't see me bitching.
yeah.
I was telling you, man, that I was loving that shit.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, that's how it is in Florida. You love like the 70s, great. The winters are amazing, and you know
again, we're from the north, so you know, used to cold, just not your cold. That's a different cold.
Yeah,
our cold was cold. That's a different cold. So no, I'm not interested. I mean, when we were in Europe in January last year, it was cold. It was fucking cold. I mean, I could tell you a couple times, man. We came out. I think it was in. I want to say it was in Switzerland. It might have been, but yeah. We come out. It was kind of snowing, and when we came out, there was fucking like you couldn't even take the gear up the ramp because it was just a fucking block of snow going up a hill. I was like, well, guess
dude,
we're going the long way.
I'm falling. It's like a National Lampoon's movie out here. I'm falling all the time, man, on the ice. My neighbors must love it, especially when I first moved here. I'm like falling in the driveway. I'm falling. It's just, I'm starting to get the hang of it. But
they should play the Benny Hill theme.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, so that's, but it is January, so it's a new year, and we are back. We had a killer episode this week already, and you also, Ed, you were actually in Morrisound this week, right? You were there 2 days ago, was it?
Yeah, I was in there on the 9th. Yep, doing some more vocals. So yep, got three more songs done, so we're just about done.
No, I know you can't give us any titles and all that stuff, but what do you got? So you guys, how many tracks can you say how many tracks you guys are doing
11.
officially? 11 tracks.
11. Yeah, and I will tell you this, that and of course, how many people will tell you it's the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread, but musically, as I was a fan from of Monstrosity in the George days, I played shows with George when I was in Eulogy, so that'll tell you how long ago I go back, with the original, not the original lineup. It would have been Tux, George, and Lee, and 4-piece, because Tux was such a shredder. He fucking just played it all. But all the way to now, and just hearing how the music has evolved. Matt's a great guitar player. We got Justin also playing leads, and Mark's bass playing on this as a bass player. When I was doing a part in a song that we had already recorded, we fixed a part. I missed the part twice because fucking Mark redid the bass, and it was so fucking incredible. I was just listening to the song. I blew the part twice because I was like, so yeah, this is going to be a different record. If you're expecting full force, it's definitely all over the map as far as death metal.
So what else has to be done? Dude. You guys have to do. So are you done with all the vocals
finishing
now?
Leads? I think Justin was in this morning doing leads. Finishing some leads locally. Matt's finishing some leads. I have 2 more songs vocally and maybe a part or 2 just to add, and that's pretty much it as far as I know. Songs are done.
Is this your first time with? This is not your first time with Morris, right? You've worked with Jim Morris before.
No, this is it.
This is your first time, huh?
Nope. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Jim, depending on his schedule, we may actually be working with Mark Prater soon.
Really?
So
great, yeah.
We'll see. Because he's a full-time, I guess he's working back there now.
He's back at Morrisound. I didn't know that.
He is. So, and I will tell you, man, if you haven't been in the new Morrisound, it's definitely, because I've been to the other one. I never recorded there.
Yeah, I've been to the other one, not the new one.
Been in there. But this is a different vibe. And they've got that new Atmos recording software. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like if you have an iPhone, Dolby Atmos is included on your phone. So when you wear your AirPods, you get the spatial sound, which is like the fucking 12 speaker. It breaks everything up. But the way they have their shit there is they've got like 4 speakers in the front, 2 on the side, 2 in the back, 2 up in the ceiling, and then subwoofers. And it's like a movie theater. And Obituary did this fucking song that started with like military machine gun fire, and then they came in with the typical Obi sound, and I never heard anything like Atmos in my fucking life, dude. It is full surround sound experience where John's vocals are here, the bass is here, the guitars are fucking everywhere. I mean, I've never heard anything like it. And they're doing Atmos recording. Only problem with that is no physical copies. You can't put them out. So it would be a digital platform because it has to be, because the file would be too big. That's what I learned. It would have to be on a DVD, and nobody's got DVD players in their car. So, but yeah, More sounds killer, man. It was killer. I'm enjoying the experience. I've got to record at some pretty killer places over the years, but you know, this is definitely the bucket list for sure.
Yeah, I haven't been to More Sound since the Frozen in Time album when Obituary did that listening party. That was the last time I was there.
Yeah.
So that was some time ago, you know. And it was for me, it was an experience, you know, because I obviously.
Yeah, you were there after I was, because I think I was there during the Sadis record when they did, and then Arise with Sepultura.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, you know,
long time ago.
It's awesome, and you know, new Monstrosity coming out. Basically, I guess we're pretty much your official get Monstrosity updates here. I think, you know, this would be
pretty much
the main place.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, but we opened up the show with a band named Crypts of Despair. The track was Anguished Exhale from the 2021 record, All Light Swallowed, and we are actually joined tonight by the guitarist from the death metal band Crypts of Despair and also the guitarist of the black metal band Luctus, each who call their home Lithuania. Dovydas, how you doing, man?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Finally, you know, usually it's me in Lithuania and people in America with me. Today, because I am in Lithuania also, I'm actually probably like an hour away from Dovydas.
Yeah, not far.
You're outnumbered, Ed. You're outnumbered for once.
Yeah, well... Actually, twice so far out of the 27, because we had obviously Paul Speckman was over.
He was in Prague,
near you,
or Czech,
and then
Lord Armand was in.
Lord Armand, yeah. I was trying to think if there was one other one, but Lord. So far 3. That's fine. I'll still take the other 24.
And Dove, yeah,
good. We still got the record.
Yeah, dude. We definitely appreciate you coming on, man. You know, and I've known Dovydas for I actually knew Dovydas before I moved here. We kind of became friends via the internet before I was about to move here, talking about music. And Dovydas knows. We'll get into this later on. Dovydas knows more shit than we probably know about Tampa. I think some of the time when I've talked to him, man, this guy.
I think probably sometimes I know even too much.
Dude, you know.
I wish I would know same amount of things in some useful areas, you know, in my life.
I always say my wife's like,
but it's a passion, man. So yeah.
I totally understand. If I knew the music stuff, if I knew that with other shit in life, you know, be a lot different. But so you were actually born in Jonava, Lithuania, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Which is about
1993.
93. So that's about 30 minutes from where I'm at in Kaunas. And what can you growing up? So back then, what was it like? You know, because obviously times have changed a lot in Lithuania in general through the last, I guess you would say 15, 20 years maybe. What was it like back then?
I think it's even less. It's always changing. You know, it's not the same as it was 10 years ago. So yeah, I mean, if you say growing up back then, it was way different because, but the city where I grew up, it had 50,000 people at that time. Now it has maybe 20, but during that time it had 50, and it was pretty wild. I mean, first time I was 11 years old when I got robbed. So
yeah, you gotta say 11 years old, Jesus.
Yeah, it was first time I was robbed. You know, we had our currents at the time, and some guy came up to me and just robbed me. I don't know, $20 took from me or something. So yeah, that was kind of a how to, what was growing up there.
Yeah, and you know, so you actually, what's cool about you is you were raised. It's kind of odd because we always talk, Ed, to people on the show who usually have me and you are kind of the same way. You grow up listening to Sabbath, you grow up listening to Kiss, or this is us guys. So I know Dovydas, and he actually had the opposite of this. So Dovydas, you started listening to music around 7 years old, correct? You come from a musical household, but you kind of got tossed directly right into the heavier stuff. You didn't really have those beginning bands that I just mentioned. I'll let you explain, but your dad was a metalhead from the 70s, if I'm correct, and he had a pretty extensive collection.
More like 80s, because he was born in '69, so he's like more through '80s and '90s.
Okay, so and what kind of what was the CDs? Because I know I had talked to you, and I know that you had your parents had a stack of music. So what was the kind of stuff you were getting introduced to at a young age? Because seven's that's a pretty young age for that.
Right, so basically, like, first of all, like, I was never actually like forced to this music, you know, and basically how it was like, I think at that time I started going to the school, and my parents were working, and after school, basically at that age, I was not really allowed to go out because it was dangerous where I lived. It was not safe for young kids to go out, at least without supervision of the parents and so on. So I come back from school because my school was like 1 block away or something. So I come back home and I had nothing to do. So my father had like a stash of CDs and a CD player, and just out of like boredom, I picked up the CDs, and I remember it was Creator, Sepultura, Metallica, and Iron Maiden. So that was my introduction to the music. I started to listen to. I think Sepultura was like Arise or something. Creator maybe,
So like Coma Souls maybe, or was not.
or maybe it was like, because it was around year 2000. So I think it was the first CD I took. It was like when they released
Out.
Violent Revolution
Okay.
on 2000. So that was like a new release. So I picked up that one, Arise. And then just Metallica classics things, like
Yeah.
Master of Puppets and so on, and Iron Maiden, like uh, Number of the Beast and stuff like that. So that was my introduction, basically.
And so when you found the internet, which I believe was around 13 or so, that's when you kind of
Yeah,
started venturing over to more of the extreme
yeah.
bands.
Then it just got worse. Uh, so yeah, I started. We had like those. I'm not sure if you had those like programs like DC plus plus. So basically, what that was, it's like you connect with the people, and there's like a server or something like that, and you share the files from your computer. So basically, you share the folder. I can go through that program into that folder and see what's in there and just pump it up to my computer.
Oh wow, I don't remember that. Do you, Ed? I
Mm-mm.
remember Limelight and all
it's
the stuff.
it's
You would steal music, like everyone
it's
stealing music.
kind of like a soul seek, that program.
I've heard of it.
Beershare,
Yeah.
eDonkey, Beershare, Soulseek, something like that. So, or like FTP servers.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that
Okay.
was kind of like that. So I remember, I think one of the first things, and that was also like introduction to like heavy stuff like Cannibal Corpse. I remember I downloaded for someone Butchered at Birth, because the name was, what the fuck is
Yeah,
that, like,
exactly.
and the cover, was like 13, and I seen that all these butchered babies out of woman. I was like, what the fuck, I have to check this out. So I checked, and I think maybe the first song was Gut It, and I was like, holy shit, and just started to dig in. I'm not sure if the Mel Archive was the thing that I knew, but I just started to look through and just go into all the people different folders and just downloading everything what I can. I remember like back in the day I had almost like 150 gigabytes of just only extreme music. So
Now,
that was
were
a
you
lot.
obsessed right away? Were you like it was pretty much that's what you did was just pretty much listen to music? You weren't like doing. Was there much else going on back then? Were you going out with your friends, or were you pretty
Yeah, I
much
was
obsessed?
hooked up immediately. Like, of course, at first, when it started, it was really new, like fresh, like if you remember the feeling when you hear something for the first time ever, and how it like changes you completely, like your perception, your mind, everything. So that was kind of it. And then I just got like, I was just like drowning in this and it just kept going and it never stopped.
Do you remember the first concert? What was the first concert? Of course, you remember what the first concert was. What was?
Yes, yes. I was 13 years old. My father took me to Metallica gig in Estonia, in Tallinn. It was 20 years anniversary of Master of Puppets. So I remember like that was like my favorite album at the time, and they played it in its entirety. I think it also was like uh, also 20 years of Cliff death, like anniversary. So it was like a huge stadium or whatever show, and they played it in entirety. So that was my very first like show.
Did you kind of know, like, when you saw it, when you were at that show? Did you know, like, this is what I fucking want to do? Like, this is it. This is like I want to.
You mean with the
Yeah,
playing?
because I know you didn't start playing till 16,
No,
which we'll talk about. I know you started at 16 playing
no.
guitar, but were you like, didn't it have that effect on you right away?
No, no. The regards to playing, no, no. I did not have until that age.
And you first picked up your
No.
sister's guitar, is that correct? Or your friend's guitar, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. So my friend had a guitar. We went there like to his place, like to have some beers or whatever, and just picked it up and made like straight away. I made some kind of melody that was familiar out of accident. It was like, oh shit, maybe I can do this, and that's how I started as well.
Okay, and so that makes total sense. And you decided that at that, what, 2016? So it was 2010, right, when you first decided you wanted to join a band, and you had seen an ad by a band named Crypts of Despair.
Yes, it was. It's funny story because like I started to look through like because in my small town there was no bands, no people that playing this music. So I just went up to look for in Kaunas in the city. Where are you? Because like it was 30 minutes away from me, so it's not that far. So I started to look for advertisements like in we had this website, we still have it, but it's no longer that active, ferrum.lt. So there were like major platform for finding musicians and people that play this kind of music. So I went there and found that at first I wanted to play maybe more like a thrash metal. So it was like in the beginning, in the earlier age, like was thrash and death metal was my main thing. I wanted to play that more, but I found that they're looking for a player in death metal band, and they pointed out the influences were like Autopsy, Obituary, Morbid Angel. I was like, okay, that's my stuff. I contacted them. I remember I contacted the drummer, and we got a Skype call at first. He asked me some questions. I don't remember exactly what kind of, and and then I played him through the Skype some riffs from Autopsy Rhythm of Disease song. He said, "Oh yeah, that sounds cool. Come to rehearsal. Let's see. Let's try
Because
out."
that's what you did, right? An original and Ridden with Disease was your first,
Yes.
what, during the first tryout.
Yeah. So I did that, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
And then what's so you joined the band, and then you never saw the other guitar player again,
Yeah.
right? That you actually
Um,
was there for
Originally,
the first tryout.
we it was supposed to be a four-piece, so they were looking for a rhythm guitar player, and I came there like for a tryout. Everything was good. They invited me to the next rehearsal, and the main guitarist he never showed up. And it's a funny story because I never heard like I never seen him, never heard of him from that day, never. So it's like it's the first and the last time I saw him. So
Well, that's
yeah, I
weird.
mean, like, I know only his name, and I slightly remember how he looks like, but I saw him that time, and I never heard from him. I probably nobody saw him after that. Maybe he's dead. I don't know. I hope not, but anything can be. So
And you started what? So you basically took some of the older, so you started reconstructing some of the songs and stuff, and then you.
Yeah, basically they had original stuff and some covers we played. So when I became like the main guitar player, because like he didn't show up for one rehearsal, other third one, and the guys were concerned what's happening, and he was not responsive at all, and it was hard to get on. So I just said like, well, fuck it, just let's go as a three piece. It's music at that time. Music was way more old school oriented, and it didn't need any backup guitar player when we realized when we played. So I just took over, started to like reconstruct some of like the songs, just like make them according to my tastes at that time, and to be better. And that's how we started.
What was the so at that time period? What 2010 we're talking about?
Yeah,
What was the scene like in Lithuania, metal band wise? Was there a decent amount of bands, or was it kind of?
it was on the rise because the like we can say that the current bands that you know of that are playing right now in Lithuania, except like older ones like Luctus and Nahash and so on, but the all the other bands they started at that time when I joined the Crypts. So like 2009, 2010, up until like 12 maybe, there was like a new wave of new bands. So the older ones disbanded that played before. Some of them continued, but the new one, basically, this whole scene that we have right now, like we can say, was mostly like born in like 2009, 2010.
Okay, so and you had spent some time with Crips, but then eventually you moved right to the UK.
Yes. Well, we started off. We started to play. I think the first gig was in 2011 in January. Yeah, we played for 2, 3 years. We actually even recorded our first album, but it disappeared because of some people. But that's whatever story. But and then I moved to UK in like for 1.5 years, and then I came back. So it was like a bit like pause and or
And you would return, right? You guys would play only like you would return, you get back with Crips of Despair, and then you guys would play one show, and then after that, I believe the singer quit, and then the band stopped again for a few years.
yeah. Well, basically, when I moved to UK, I kept on creating the songs and stuff like that. So, and that's basically at that time when I moved, I started to create the songs that ended up on our previous record, All I Swallowed. So that was the songs, and I started to make them. I came back to Lithuania. I contacted the members. Drummer was fine. He said like, "Yeah, let's go." And the singer was hesitant, like, I'm not sure. He had like finished like his physics degree, and he had a good job and so on. And his priorities were like different. And he basically said that like I'm not sure if I want to continue and so on. And there were like so many changes in all our lives, like in personal, career wise, moving places, and someone's getting married, someone's getting this and that, and yeah. So and we played one show to see how it goes. It was okay, but there was no like not so much like future in that. So we kind of stopped it.
So you stopped, and you started during that time. So I'm figuring around. I'm trying to put a time lapse here. Simonis, who obviously you've been playing with him for a long time. You met him around 2009, was it?
No, I mean, I didn't meet him until like maybe like personally until 2012 when the Luctus invited us to play in at their second album release show as a support act. Well, funny story. I contacted him on MySpace, like way before when Luctus released their first album. Like
MySpace days. Well,
yeah, I like I wanted to know how to play one riff of the one song of the album, so I wrote him to ask for a tabs from that part, and he actually replied me and sent me like a notepad version of tabs. So that was like a kind of first contact with him personally. So yeah, but after that, I just saw him on a few gigs because like I was obviously a fan of the band as well of Luctus, so I had all the records and I went to a bunch of shows to see them. So yeah, we started
and
to.
you also so he would join Crips. We'll kind of actually I won't jump around that much. I'll say so you played bass for a band with him also in what 2015. Fuck off and die. Is
Yeah, I played the
is
guitar
that
there. Yeah,
guitar?
2000.
Okay,
It
so you
was
played
in
with him in that.
2015 we started that to take it live.
So you guys had that. So you guys started getting a friendship, and then you were hanging out. I'll let you tell the story because this basically leads to Crips getting back together, right? Because it was, I
Yes,
think,
yes.
2016. You and Simonis are hanging out, and I'll let you finish the story from there on how it all kind of got the ball rolling again.
Yeah, so we played with Fuck Off and Dime, uh, and we were drinking at my place, just partying, and he just asked me like, "What happened to the Crypts? Like, why are you not playing there?" And I started to explain all the shit, like, the singer, blah blah. I don't have any members to play. I moved on a little bit. I started to create a different stuff, which became the second album, and he just said to me like, "Well, I can play," And the fun fact that the original drummer from the band, the
SK is
next
this?
is Simonas as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next day, me and Simonas, we went to Lemmy to a club in Kaunas, and the
Which those who don't
drummer,
know, Lemmy is our club here in Kaunas, Lithuania, which is pretty much the metal club in the town.
yeah. So we went there, and the drummer came out of nowhere, and he told me like he wants to make this like music again. It's like, okay, that's like a weird coincidence, but one person asked me about this day before, and the next one the next day. So I thought, yeah, just let's let's do it. So it's actually like thanks to him that is happening because like he convinced me that the songs from the first album should not go away or vanish. It must be recorded. So
Yeah, because you guys entered the studio what 2016. You opened. You entered actually Lapis Studios in Konus,
yeah.
and those songs you said were like they're older material. Like a lot of those dated. I guess if you go back now, it was like 9 or 10 years old. That material, correct?
Mm,
Or this
pretty
is the stuff
much
for the
like
album. For
those
the album, yeah.
most of the songs, like I could say all of them except the Deadlight, because Deadlight was created I think 1 year before album recordings, but all the rest of the songs were made between 2011 and 2013. So all the songs were like 3 or 4 years old actually.
And the first song you ever wrote is it correct? Is "Pits of Endless Torment." Is that the first
Yes,
song you ever wrote personally?
that's
That's
my
on that album.
first ever composition, if you can call it, ever created. Yes.
Okay. And so lyric wise, now Simonis did he deals with most of the lyrics on that record also, right? On the
On
debut.
the first one, he did, I think, 80% of it. Like two songs were written by ex-member. On All I Swallowed was as well the same thing, except two lyrics were written by me. So yeah, because like we I know him so well. We are one of the best friends. So basically, like, I create a song and I have a picture of the song by Sonic, like, landscape, and I just give him the title. Okay, so this song invokes in me this title. So try to something right about that, and I trust him because he knows like we can communicate in that, and It doesn't go too far, it has like same title, whatever, being erased, and explaining him emotionally what I would like it to be about or something, and he just writes it down, and it's like we'll make some maybe corrections, maybe some.
Because when you write the music, you don't ever think about lyric placement. That's
No,
correct. You, like
no,
you,
no, I cannot do this. I mean, like, I should, because it would probably maybe would make my life easier, but I just, when I create the songs, all of them are instrumentals first, so I make them in this way that I would not get bored listening only to instrumental, by myself. So I never think it's always been and still is a pain in the ass. Okay, where should we put vocals? How it should sound and stuff like that. And then it's like now we developed, especially like recently, develop our way of work around this. But before that was a bit painful. So
and I know we've talked about it just in general, like with you know, there is a like there's a certain feel that you with this music, right? With Crypts of Despair, like you take it very serious. Like you the sound, the atmosphere, the overall just the feeling that people get listening to it. Can you explain that at all? Like, because there's I know like as we say, you can always have some beers, joke around, have a good time, but at the end of the day, when it comes to your music, you take the message very serious.
yes, I mean, like, keeping it like, um, serious, with with the art and the like person wise is different thing. uh, I'm not gonna, for example, like, yes, I want to create music. The art itself for me is not for a joke. It's not about like singing about vodka and anything else or something silly like that. you know Also, at the same time, I'm not gonna talk to you guys and sit in my home with the sunglasses on, at my play at my flat, like some people do. But yeah, the art itself, I don't like jokes. I mean, like, where it's like stupid shit coming out, and maybe some people do like it. I don't mind, but for me personally, no. I like the music that it's speaking to you. It gives you something. It teaches you something. It just like when the music maybe helps you or ruins you at the same time. No, like, it has to give you something. It has to have that intelligence, like value to it. So that's like my thing that I don't like to, like, when I listen to music. I'll never listen to while speaking to someone or whatever. I take my time. I have, like, maybe when everyone is asleep or someone. I just like to be immersed in that without any, side distractions and so on. So it's like really important.
Okay, we're actually gonna play one of the songs off this record in a moment here. You had this mixed and mastered at the Devil's Mark Studio in Rome. Let me see here, and let me see. And the artwork actually, I wanted to talk about because I thought the art. So you had the artwork done by an Italian artist, right?
Yes.
I'll let you explain. Who worked with Alter, Artillery, Asphyx, Sinister, Pestilence, and a bunch of other bands. But yeah, how did you meet the artist, and can you explain?
Yeah, basically, when it came, like, when the time was to think about the artwork, and who's gonna do it. Like, before that, I was following many artists, because like the visual side of the album is also as important as the music itself. So I was following many artists, basically, of my favorite groups or bands, and I found this Roberto Toderico. He's an Italian guy that he made art for the bands that you just mentioned. I had even some merch from those bands that he made for them. So I just contacted him and asked him, "Hey, would you like to work with us? Here's our music. Take a listen to the lyrics and stuff." And he agreed because he liked it, enjoyed it, and yeah, that's how it came to be. Like, pretty simple, nothing, nothing too fancy there.
Well, we are now going to play a song off the 2017 Stench of the Earth record titled Path to Vengeance. And we'll be right back on the morgue after this. That was Path of Vengeance off the Crypts of Despair 2016 debut album. So that, let me see here. That was recorded, the guitars were recorded in what, 5 days for that record? Is that correct?
Approximately, yes. I think so. About like drums were like with sound check, preparations, setting up and so on, like 3.5 days, I think. Guitars was like, yeah.
Well, you guys tune in what, A standard on that? You guys are tuning pretty low on the.
Yes, that was A standard. Before we actually were on B standard, but I just I remember actually like I was listening to Mortician at one point a lot, and I said like, well, that sounds, low tunings always were for me, like, giving me I'd say like it just resonates with me so much. So I thought, what if those songs were in a bit lower tuning? So we tuned, remember, half step down. It was okay, that's good, but something just missing. So we tuned the whole step down. I was like, yes, that's the spot. So yeah, we tuned to A standard. We used seven strings because before we didn't, and that's also basically one of the reasons when I went to London just to work and buy my first seven string guitar. So yeah, and yeah, 5 days for guitars. And I remember vocals were the hardest part. It took like a maybe a month and a half. It was a huge struggle and not a pleasant experience as I can remember. So, but yeah, we managed to do that.
And off that record, you guys played Poland, Germany, Estonia, England, but you also guys did a tour through Mexico.
Yes.
Yes, with that was what 10 gigs, the Death Chance over Mexico tour in 2018.
Yep.
What can you tell us about that? How you basically, how it all came together?
Oh, all right. So at the time, the first album was released via the Testimony Records in Germany. So we had a team, like a label mates, band called from Brazil, Escarnium. So he contacted us, like he said, "Oh yeah, I like their music and stuff," and we kept in touch. And then he one day he just wrote me and, "Hey, would you like guys to go on tour?" I said, "Yes, of course, we would like to." It's in Mexico. I was like, "What?" All right. Let me
Yeah, you
talk to the
guys were thinking
guys.
like European, right, or
Yeah,
something. You
yeah.
guys were.
That's what you expect for the first tour ever for your band. Since you're from Europe and it's easier. So, but no, it was Mexico. It was like, what the fuck? Okay, okay. So, uh, long story short, we kept in touch. We managed or like our logistics and stuff like that. And well, it was half, not half, probably like maybe 90% funded by like our own pockets. And yeah, they invited us and was we spent there, I think, around like 18 days. It was like funny because from Vilnius we had to get by the car to Amsterdam, which is
Oh
like
shit! I didn't know you
which is
guys drove
like
there.
I don't know.
17 hours, 20 hours,
Yeah,
maybe.
around that,
Yeah,
around
about
that.
17 hours, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
Long,
17
long trip.
hours. So from Amsterdam we had to fly to Madrid, and from Madrid to Mexico City. So it took like us 24 hours to travel. So we came there and yeah, we started that journey. So, and it was the same way back. So props to our ex guitarist, because remember when we were coming back after the tour. So from Mexico to Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam to our guitarist, he drove all the way without any stops and sleep whatsoever. He ride through that. So yeah, yeah. So the tour came to be. It was very bumpy, very half ghetto, half whatever that.
Did you guys see any crazy shit there in
Yeah,
Mexico? Like, I know
there,
you guys saw the
there.
pyramids, which has to be
Yes,
fascinating.
yes, we went there. That was the first thing. Like, well, if we're gonna be there, we had some downtime because when we went, we arrived there. We had 3 or 4 days before the first show because we had to like the other guys had to rehearse a bit, and we also rehearsed because they lended us instruments as well, so just to get to know them and use them. And yeah, of course, we said like that's the first thing that we gotta go. I mean, to the pyramids. That was amazing. That was you have to be there. I cannot describe it in the words. How what it feels like to be there. And regards the crazy shit, I don't know. I mean, there were some not that maybe drastic. Just maybe the most memorable was, I think, like uh, maybe eighth show. We went in Juarez. It's like near the border of the U.S. like 1 kilometer away from U.S. border, from El Paso, I think. And yeah, we arrived there. It was like 5 locks on doors. The outlaw biker guarding us, and promoter saying this, like, okay, look, right now there is a biggest drug cartel war in the streets. 20 people are dying each day. So if you need anything, beers, you know, horse, drugs, whatever, you tell us. You don't go anywhere, nowhere, out of this place. We are taking
Because you've
you.
seen those videos, Dovydas, haven't you? The chainsaw videos with the cartel. It gets pretty rough, man.
He said, like, that's, yeah,
Well, first of
yes.
all, they played Juarez. If Lee told me I was playing Juarez, they'd be playing as a 4-piece.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
So,
Juarez. I know what
and because they
Juarez
explain
is. I'm
that,
not
because
going
that's
to
like a
Juarez. It's
drug
not going
way
to
or drug
happen.
path to US through that whatever city or state, whatever. And yeah, so they did not let us go anywhere. Everything was like for us, and we remember like we went to that club. I think at that time was some bands from US playing as well, like Nexul and some other, I don't remember. We finished the show. It was all good, all cool. I remember like it said, okay, we have to stay here for a little bit. We went look outside. Outside the club were six same color cars with same amount of dudes out of them, and just standing there. Said like, okay, we have to be there a little bit. And then we see like police cars in in the horizon, and they just like ants going back to the cars and driving off, and then say like, okay, now we can go. We can go back. So that's like
How
one of
was
them, but yeah, it's cool. I mean,
how was now? What did you notice
Nope.
about how was the crowds like? Not even like attendance wise, but the fan wise. Like, did you notice like how was the appreciation towards the band's music when you
it
go
was
to
great.
Mexico?
I mean, all the like, I guess like it's maybe I wasn't like never been to like South America, but I think they're like have same mentality because they really appreciate the music, like really appreciate the bands, and they go nuts like crazy, moshing almost to the point of fighting each other and shit like that. So, and beside the fact that you know it's a little bit like a poorer country, we can say, so we had to lower down the merch prices and stuff, and some people came like, oh, I really want to buy but I don't have the money, and they really don't have it because like that's how it is there. And but just down to earth, like really honest people, and we really enjoyed that because every show there
Awesome.
were some people that we still meet with some of them, we're still in contact. We met some guys that like one made the merch for us for free as well, patches and stuff. So really good, amazing people. I would come back there to play anytime, actually.
Nice, nice. And you got back, and then you also, after that tour, 2017, you also officially became part of the black metal band Luctus. How did you become? Obviously, I know you played with Simonis already, so you had already done shows with them, and there was already that tie.
Yeah,
But well, when did you officially join them?
I think it was like 2017 because in the bands like inside there were some changes and differences with the members, and all that bullshit that happens within the bands. And just he asked me to join them, so I said
And you were a
yes.
fan of them since you were young, so that had to be kind of like a fuck
Of
yeah, I'll
course,
join.
that's like I always wanted to play in that band since I remember like when they started to play the guitar. That was like can say like kind of my dreams. Like I want to play in this band because I saw them all the time and all these different stages, and I love their music. I knew all the songs and shit like that. So of course, when he invited me, I said yes. I remember right way before that, like a couple years prior, I said to him like always, if you will need a member and so on, I'm here. I didn't expect that, but I had like small hope in my mind, like in the back, like maybe one day, and yeah, and
And
they asked
you
me.
and your first recording with and their first recording Luctus wise ever was on that 6-way split.
Mine.
Yes. Did
Yeah, I
you play
mean,
on that
but
6-way split?
that's
That was
no. The 6-way split. It's the song is taken from the album before me, so it's not
okay.
my.
So you weren't
Yeah,
on that
no,
one.
no, no. I wasn't there. My first record with it is the latest one is called Užribis. So that
Okay.
one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. And before, we're actually going to talk more about Luctus. But during the same time period, you also were you were with a band that you had joined a couple years prior, and Sisyphean, if I'm saying
Sisyphean, yeah.
that correct.
Sisyphean, yeah.
And you guys were putting out the Illusions of Eternity record.
Yeah. It
On
was
Jakar
around the same
Productions.
time when I did with the debut of Crypts of Despair. It was around the same time. I joined the Sisyphean in 2000, in the end of 2014. It was at that time when I moved to Vilnius to live there. So I joined that band. It also was kind of a similar story of the Crypts because when I joined only as a bassist, just as a bassist, because I wanted to try something new, and I saw the potential in the band, and I just joined as a bassist. And
And
prior,
their singer passed away, correct, in 2017.
yeah, he, you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah.
And were
So
you Fred? Did you know him personally?
yeah. Of course, he was a
Was
friend
it
of
Lucas
ours. Like,
Bitotis,
yes,
correct?
yes. Rest in peace. Yeah. He committed suicide, unfortunately. But so I joined as a bassist, and I remember like 2 weeks before the gig, we had the problem started with the singer at the time, and 2 weeks before the gig, we said like we don't have a singer. What should we do? And so like, well, I can sing. Uh, so let's try, and we did it. So became the singer of the band and the bassist there 2 weeks before the gig. So
And you guys would actually record that record, Illusions of Eternity, in 2016, but you guys would put it out in 2017 on Jakar. And so you guys did that. And then were you guys doing shows back then too off that record right away? Or,
yeah. We did some.
okay.
Also, we played in Germany in festival, and it was like we probably maybe did more, but it was a bumpy way through like everything, and so we did. Yeah,
Well,
I would say like we had quite a good amount of them. So
well, you guys did 7 songs on that Illusion of Eternity record, and we're going to play one of the songs now from Mississippian 2017 album called Illusions of Eternity. The song is called Shattered Glass, and you wrote this in your kitchen. What can you tell us about this tune?
well, not entirely, but the clean part, the middle section, I distinctly remember when I wrote that in my kitchen at 4 a.m. in the morning. So probably the mood of that part can suggest my state at 4 a.m. in the fucking Soviet building kitchen. So yeah.
Oh, cool, man. We're going to play Shattered Glass now off of the Illusions of Eternity record, and we'll be right back on the morgue after the song. Okay, that was Shattered Glass from Sisyphean off of the 2019 record. Um, you also in 2017 you also joined another band, Nahash. What can you say? How did that wind up happening?
Yeah, well, it was at the same time when I was asked to join Luctus, at like maybe a month after I was asked to join by their main composer of the band to play guitar there. So simple as that.
There you go.
Because we all knew each other from the scene because it's so small and everyone is playing in each other's bands, and or every band is almost like we have like a family tree. So probably in each band everyone was at some point or another or played with each other. So he just asked me, and at the time it was like like 23 years old or something, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do this, and just joined all the cool bands that I liked and invited me. So it was like maximalism.
Yeah, yeah. We're in. You did a lot of. Obviously, you've been very. You did the Cold Embrace, then Villainous. Also, you did for a while. You guys did a 3-song EP there, the Unending Turmoil. Um, and then obviously 2020. Also, you would release your first album with Luctus, which you can actually, if you want to tell us about that. That was the first full length from the band since 2015.
Yes. Yeah. So what did you tell? Yeah, when I joined, like the first new songs like started to be composed and say, and yeah, we gathered all the material and we recorded it. It also was a bit bumpy and stressful, but we did it, and it was my debut with the band. So, and yep.
No, the way a lot of your bands are set up, right? Because you guys have all been around doing different stuff for a while, so you guys kind of do the homework on your own, and then get together, and then bring the product together. Because obviously everyone's living in different parts of the town, different cities, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, with
And
the
luck,
Luctus it's different because like Kona is not that far. So mostly, yeah, I mean, how it usually goes, the Simonas comes to my place, we record the demo of the song, I mix it, produce it to make it sound decent, and then we observe, listen, and then we rehearse. But usually when we come to rehearsing place, it's with both of these bands. We do the homework before, because like even though like Luctus and like we live not that far from each other, like 1 hour away, but still, everyone has their own life and jobs, and some have kids, so we don't have this luxury to come to rehearse like constantly every week, every day or whatever. So yeah, it's usually we have the material, record it, and we listen, and we learn, and then we come to rehearse.
and for that record, well, Simonis handles the lyrics in that band. Also, I'm taking it.
Yeah. That's
The lyrics.
100% his thing.
Okay, and you guys recorded that at Lapis Studios, also in Conus.
Yeah, I mean the
And
drums, the drums. Yeah,
the
the
drums.
drums.
Okay, so you heard.
Drums were recorded in Lapis Studio, and then guitars were recorded in my place, and the vocals I also recorded, but at the Lapis Studios. I mean, the vocals were recorded by me, not the guy that worked there, but drums were by him. So
Okay, and on that album, you guys had planned to release it earlier, but it got delayed, obviously, because we all know the whole COVID thing and everything. Um, so that delayed you guys for what, a couple months, was it?
no, we actually
On
released that in February. So the pandemic came a month after. So
Okay,
all the plans, as probably for every band on Earth, were just wiped off because it started
but
and
you guys did do a live performance, right, on the live performance movie on the Black
Yeah, yeah,
Metal
yeah.
YouTube
Yeah,
channel
we
that
did
year.
like a live stream thing during the pandemic. It was illegal because remember you've been there, right?
Yeah, I was
We
here for
had
that.
those
Yeah,
like
too many people in the same room.
outposts, control points, or whatever you call them,
Yep.
between the entrances, like in the city entrance and so on. So I remember
It was
to
like a movie here.
yeah. So in order to get two of us, like drummer and me, from Vilnius to Kaunas, we had to get from Lemmy the work document that we have to be there because we have to do like a club work.
Oh, so the metal club had to
Yes.
give you the documents that
Well,
you were
it
working
all
there.
was like, false. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
a illegal thing because, like, said like, because we were stopped by the police and they said, okay, you're coming here. What's the reason? We said we have to do the work, and we had to show them like fake contracts and all the shit like well, you read the papers and that's why if you said like, well, if you need, you can call the director, like main CEO of the club, which is our guitarist from Luctus.
Exactly.
So you can ask him, yeah, we have to do some work like preparations for some things at the club or whatever. And yeah, we did that. We did a live stream because so um we had to make something out of that album, because we put so much effort to that, and it just we just saw during that time that it's all going to waste. So we just didn't want that, and we did it, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Well, we're actually going to play a track off that album now, off the 2020 release, called Kas Tu Esi. And what can you tell us about this tune?
Well, it's a translation to English would be like, who are you? So it's like a question mark. And I don't know, I mean, it's been, like, I'm the one that gets like the songs that are made and recorded. I get them behind me. So I like the track, I mean, but I just live in the future. So I don't know, just listen, I guess, enjoy. So
Well, we're going to play that track now. This is Kas Tu Esi. We'll be back on the morgue after this song. Okay, there you go, man. That's Kas Tu Esi off of the 2020
Hell yeah.
Luctus record. Um, and you guys also did an official video for the title track,
Yeah.
which is a it's an 8 minute video. It's a pretty intense video, man. How was that whole experience? Was that your first time doing a video? Because I know you did one with Crypts eventually, but I think that was that your
It
first
was
actual.
after. Yeah, it was my first experience with filming anything. Um, it was really a nice experience because the whole video was made by Rokas, so it's the same guy from Columbus as well. And there were many discussions, many things, because to make 8 minute long video interesting, captivating, and not boring, it's a pretty difficult task as well, not to make it look cheesy or cringy, whatever. So there were like many discussions, many different places and experimentation and stuff, but during the process, at the beginning was a little bit cloudy, how we want to make it, how we want to look. We had some like vague ideas, what to do. But then when we started, it all went along and all came together. And you can watch it up all on YouTube, entering the title name of the album. So you can judge for yourself. But we were pretty happy with the results. I think it was pretty good quality. So
You guys also actually put out a beer that same. Was that the same year, 2021? There was a beer for you guys too, a black IPA.
yeah, I
Uh,
had not really like I didn't have like much to do with that because I know that Similas knew the local brewer that was a fan of the band, and they just came to like agreement. Let's make a beer. Like, because also at that time in 2020 there was a 20-year anniversary of the band because Similar started the band in 2000. So it was not.
but you guys released a single for that too, actually, with that whole deal, right? With the
No, 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 no,
anniversary.
no. No, that was different. But the beer was not because of the album, but just for anniversary of the band. So just like not only saying, "Oh, 20 years anniversary, blah blah blah." Just we just like, okay, taste the beer, take the essence of the band, taste it. 20 years of whatever darkness or shit. So.
But you guys did put out a what? You guys put out a single in 2022, was it also?
Yes,
Which was the last thing you guys released, I believe,
yes,
correct?
yes. Yeah, I think we did that when there was I think the it's still during the pandemic, but when the all like most of the freedom came back, and I think it was the
And that's
occasion.
Anth Promise. How do you pronounce that? So it's Anth Promise is the
Anprasme.
title. Okay, yeah.
Anprasme.
So there
That's
you go.
actually
Uh,
that word doesn't really exist in Lithuanian language. It's just like made up of couple words. It's not officially in vocabulary, but they made it up. And yeah, so I think we made it because like we needed some new stuff. Oh, actually, no. Now I remember. There was 20-year anniversary gig that we did
ah,
in Vilnius. Yeah, and we just wanted to not only with the beer but also this track that sums up like the essence of the band. Like all the 20 years, like what was in the past and what's coming next. So it's like a combination. That song is like good representation of what we are. So we did for 20-year anniversary show also something new to give to the people.
and you guys are awesome live, man. I've seen you guys several times at the festivals and
Thank
stuff.
you,
I know
man.
you guys play Devilstone, Kilcombe. I've seen you at these and you guys were awesome at Devilstone the first time I saw you there. I've seen you at Lemmy's. Just you guys kill it. I mean, I have to say
Thank you, man.
it's a great performance live. And you guys in the festival shows I saw you guys at. You guys really dominate. You guys just really dominate the stage, and it's definitely impressive. And are you
Thank you,
guys? So
thank
before
you.
we get back to some Crypts of Despair, are you? So as Luctus, are you guys? I know we'll talk about some shows you guys have coming up this next year that I know about one of the over in America. But
Yep.
do you guys are you guys writing new material now, or is there
Yeah, we
like what is going on in
actually
the Luctus camp?
we are in the stage of finishing off like the new album. We hope to get to the studio I mean that this album gonna be, I will record it entirely and mix it and produce it, whatever. All I will do all the things, but we hope to get to the studio like in the autumn. I think so, if everything's right, all good. But yeah, I think this year we're gonna start to record a new album.
So there is material already written and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, we'll get back to we'll go back to Luctus at the end, but I want to go back to Crypts of Despair because 2021, you guys again enter Lapis Studios in Conus and record the second full length for Crypts of Despair titled All Light Swallowed,
Yeah.
which we mentioned earlier. You wrote most of that material when you were in the UK.
I mean, not the like all of it, but it started there, because when the band disbanded, I kept on creating, and I went when I started to create that album. I went to different phases of some maybe technical music and so on and so on, and I found myself in the landscape of that album. So I started to create that, and before Simonas and stuff, he convinced me to continue. I was thinking of creating a new band that will be the All I Swallowed would be the debut album of that band. So yeah, I started to create there and just continued. So
And you guys, so you did that. That album we're talking about now was mastered by Arthur Rizek,
yes,
who also did mastering for Bloody Incantation, Goat Seaman, Cro-Mag's creator, Proto Fanatica, and a bunch
yep.
more. How did you get to work with him?
It's actually the album itself was mixed by Russian friend.
Yeah, Alexander Sarchev, is it? Or I don't want to
Yeah,
pronounce his name wrong.
something like this. And he knew like Arthur, and they were like working, sharing, some. He mastered for him, and vice versa, and stuff. And he just said like, okay, I'm gonna do the mixing, and I want to give this to master for Arthur. At that time, he was not as known as right now. No, because his career popped up like really fast, and at that point, when he mastered our album, he was just like starting to getting this big guy. So not sure if Arthur and like guy from Russia is still in contact, but yeah. So he said I'm gonna send it to him. He's gonna do the work, and that's how it's. I didn't know him personally, and we didn't approach him for that. It was because of our mixing engineer.
And for the artwork for the album, you guys used somebody who did artwork for Black Altar, Hakovitz,
Yeah,
Moonspell, a bunch of other
Bloodbath.
bands, Nestor Avalos. Yeah, how did you
Yes,
guys? Which I think he's a killer artist. How did you get along with
amazing.
him?
He's amazing one. Yeah,
Yeah, he
because
really
like
is.
same story. Like I was like thinking about the artwork. What shall I do? Which person to hire for it? And I just had like bunch of CDs that was his artwork on. I really enjoyed it because like his artwork at the time spoke to me, and I just also like simple as that, like contacted him via internet, sent him the music, same story like music lyrics, asked him if he would like to work with us, and he said really want to work with you. So that's it.
He's a great artist, and I know with you, like you're so when you write music, you're a big fan. I've heard you say this before, actually, that you're a fan of themes, right? You don't like just a bunch of different songs thrown together on like a record. You kind of have a theme when you write.
I mean, it's not like conceptual.
Yeah, it's not
uh,
like a King Diamond record, but
yeah, no, I didn't do like any concept with
yeah,
any of the albums. I like to be he's like certain atmosphere or certain mood to go through all the record. So that's what I like. I see as a record as a one picture, like one canvas. So
yeah, because you believe what never making the same record twice, which is no,
that's my like my motto, you can say, or whatever, that I don't want to make the same record twice, because like would be boring for me. Like, why should I do it? This can be done only by Motorhead. They can do the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
record.
AC/DC, Motorhead. There's certain
Like
bands that you expect.
but you don't want from Motorhead nothing else than the same record again and again, because that's what the best of, and that's what you want to hear, and they always make it good. But that's not the case for me personally. So I don't want to create the same record. So it's obviously that I look for different artists. Because like I like when the bands, like they find that person from the outside that can make for them uh, like 3 or 4 records in a row, and they're still gonna bring something different to them. Like same Morris Sound records, each Deicide or a Cannibal record, they're done by the same person, but they still sound different.
Yeah.
And
No, that's
you
good.
stick to that, and you trust the person and stuff. So I still didn't find that person yet. So I tried to look over, and I had his artwork in my mind to contact him, and yeah, it all happened.
And you also, like we were mentioning earlier, you guys did a video for that record also,
Yeah.
Choked by the Void.
Yes.
Are you a fan of making videos, or is that like, I mean, I know me and Ed have done a few music videos, and I kind of got bored during the whole process. How personally did you feel during that?
I mean, it's cool to have them, but it's more, like following, how to say,
Necessity,
it,
like band photos almost, you got to.
yes, that's the kind of thing, because that's like a way to show yourself to the other people that never see you live or never seen you, so like to spark that interest in you, I think. And also, you can not only, I don't really enjoy too much those videos where the guys, like bunch of guys, just playing their guitars and just look how we awesome are, and there's nothing else, just playing. Some of them are cool, some of them are really boring, but I think that's like the way to show maybe some insight of yourself,
And maybe it also builds up the image you're trying to portray to the listener. Like you're trying to give them this glimpse of like what the band is trying to put forth,
Yeah,
visual wise, because visual is so big in metal, right? I mean, you have to say it's
really
like
important.
huge.
Like art and music goes along, but with the video itself, like also you can show how you look like, so it like perceives some image, like what you're about, what your aesthetics are, and all that stuff. So because you don't want to like see this like dark, like for example, like you hear like incantation, right? And you never see them live, and you cannot see, like they don't have any videos, and you come and they're like a bunch of kids in
Shorts and flip flops.
trainers, flip-flops. That would be like, what the fuck.
Yeah.
So the videos are a good way to show off like what the band's made of and what they represent. So I'm not a fan personally too much, but I got over the years got to enjoy them making. So
Now, where did you guys go ahead, Ed?
I think that's why a lot of bands use live feeds from their shows to make videos, because
yeah.
you
Agree.
get the aspect of what they look like live. You know what I mean? Instead of the fraudulent, like no cables coming from the guitars going
Oh,
to the
that's the
amp,
worst,
looking like
man.
you're in the middle of the desert, like
Well,
Slayer.
Season in the Abyss is like
What was the
it
season-
it got to
What was
pass.
the Season in the
That's
Abyss?
I like
know
that
it's a-
video.
but
yeah,
now.
No, I like the video, but we
Okay.
know it's a
And one
green
thing with-
screen because we
with
know they're
Crypts of
not playing in the
Despair,
middle of the
and
desert.
Luctus too, actually, is with live they have this whole image, and they pull it like the band looks like they crawled out of the video almost when you watch the live footage. It's the whole fire and the flames, and I give you guys credit there with that.
Thanks.
And you guys, that Crypts of Despair video, what'd you guys shoot that? And was it in Vilnius? You guys were shooting that?
No, it's in Kaunas. Actually, it's
It was Kaunas. Okay.
yeah. It's
Right by me.
not sure if you Not sure if you ever been to our rehearsing space in Kaunas. It's
Yes, I was there. Actually, I came out there with you guys probably like 3 years ago before I had kids. So basically, I had kids. I haven't been back.
yeah. So so the same place where all the amps, where all the gear and stuff, it's all everything from playing to all those cinematics. They were filmed in the same building and at that place. So we basically, like, if you remember, we pull it off, like all the stuff from the behind to the back, and we just filmed there. And all those
Yeah.
scenes with me with dancing with the rope and shit, it's all the same building.
Okay. Well, we're actually going to play a track off of that All Light Swallowed album. Now we're actually going to play the song that you have the video for. If you want to see the video, you people, you can find it on YouTube. But we're going to play "Choked by the Void" now, and we'll be back on the morgue after this song. Okay, that was Choked by the Void off All Light Swallowed by Crypts of Despair. Um, and there's a beer popping by the Crypts of Despair right there. You know. So you guys, okay, let's talk about. So let's go up to the time now, right? We're what 2000. I was about to say 2023, but we're 2024, and already. So Crypts of Despair has been busy. First of all, let's talk about the new singer because for those who don't know, you were handling a lot of the vocal duties. You and Simonis were doing a lot, and you decided to, which I'll let you explain, kind of switch up the roles a little bit.
Yeah, well, basically, during when I got COVID, I had, I didn't have like bad symptoms or anything. I just had to be isolated for 12 or 10 days. So I wasn't sick or anything. So I had a lot of beers and a lot of downtime. So I started to create a new music. And when I created like half of the album, which was thrown out, but anyway, it was like the beginning of the new one. um I started just to see that music just outgrew our abilities, and I was thinking like, okay, so I need to step up the game. And when I started to do that, I saw that I need so much practice to make those vocals better, to make it sound huge, and all the rest. And I came to realize that I don't have a time for that. It's just like I want to be better at the guitar. That's my main focus. That's my main passion as well. So I was actually like never supposed to be vocalist of any band. So, and I thought, okay, I probably need to find a just a dedicated professional person that does one thing he knows the best and does it professionally. So basically, that was the main reasons, like why we did this, and we're glad we did because his like vocal abilities are insane.
So what
I
is?
mean,
Oh
I
yeah, let's
never.
start out with that. What is the new? What is the current lineup of Crypts of Despair?
Okay, so it's well, also uh, upon the release of All I Swallowed, the guitarist at the time, well, left the band. Some personal things and personal reasons. So Dovydas, which started to play with me in Cold Embrace, uh, I invited him to play, and we stayed all the same people. And then Jonas, the current singer, joined the band. And yeah, that's like, as I said before, I wanted to create the same album twice, and that was the step that we had to take in order to make the album like different. And it still will have same like elements and the essence of the band, but it's just will be different.
Okay, so you
So yeah, we just naturally asked him, and I think was one of the best decisions we made so far.
okay, so now what the lineup is you, Simonis,
Me,
SJ.
Simonas, yeah. So me, Simonas, Dovydas, Henry, the guy from Estonia, and Jonas. So we are five piece now.
And how did you meet Henry? From can I know? I do know actually he is located in Estonia. So how did you guys wound up meeting paths, crossing paths, I
Yeah,
should say?
yeah. So basically, he used to play in one like a hardcore grindcore band that I enjoyed a lot from Estonia, like way before I knew him. So, and he just came to play, to Lithuania quite often because it's not that far. So it's like if they tour or whatever, it's like the one of the stops along the path. And I remember they played in one festival which is called In Feast. You probably heard about it.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, Chris played that this year, right?
Yeah, we also played there.
2023.
Yeah, yeah. Last year we played, and so after like the first festival, they played there. I remember I was just like waiting in line for the bar, like at the bar for beer, And he came to me basically and just like said, "Hey, what's up, blah blah," and I've seen you around in our shows. And that's how we came to know each other. And then like after a year, well, basically I was looking for a drummer. I knew that there are no with the well there is like a big like lack of drummers
No shit.
in
Yeah.
Lithuania. That's like a fucking huge problem. And the stuff that we play is like very demanding skills wise and speed wise. And we didn't manage to find anyone in our country. So I just decided like I know that he can play like really fucking fast. So just contacted him, asked him if he would like to participate. And now I was like almost 100% sure that he will refuse it, like say no, but he didn't even like took long or anything or too much of a thought. Like said, "Yeah, I want to do this." Like, okay, great, let's go. So that's how he came to the band. And Jonas, I knew him way before from like the same period when we started to play. He played also in one band
Dark
that's no
Presence,
longer
right? He played
existing.
in
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Vilnius.
Yeah, yeah. So it's no longer existing, but he played there. And last year we did a show in Vilnius, and he came there and saw him, and I thought, I know that that guy has a great voice, and like a lot of abilities to perform. And I thought maybe I just hit him up, and ask him what he thinks if he would like to. And it was also like the thing that he said, like, because he did not sing before this album for 8 years. He like left to do like other things in different styles of music and stuff. And he said like, oh, at the same time I was like thinking that I would like to return, to extreme music and stuff. So all stars collide, and there you go.
So, and you guys have, so we'll get you everyone up to date. You guys have a new album that is recorded. It's done and recorded, but you're in the mixing, mastering phase right now. And
Correct.
I'll let you
Yes.
start with the story of you got. Can you tell us how many tracks? I know. I've actually. So obviously we can't give any titles or album title. I have heard some of the stuff, which sounds fucking killer. I heard some of the raw stuff, man, from the new record. Yeah, how many tracks are you guys gonna have? Have you decided what the final track number is going to be?
It's gonna be 9 tracks.
9 tracks.
9 tracks. Yes. So it's gonna be like, I'm not gonna reveal too much of the details, but one thing that is gonna be the album that doesn't have any silent moments. So basically, if you put on the vinyl, it's like one long song. Like it has intro, it has something in between, it has in the songs, between songs, and it doesn't stop. It's like a one big long journey. I mean, it's not going to be long because I don't like long albums.
And I
So
noticed that with Crypts, I think you guys usually run about 32, 34, 35 minutes at the most,
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
on those
somewhere like
records.
up to 40 minutes. Because I know
No one has an
who
attention
has
span anymore, man.
and who has time to listen to 1 hour and a half long albums or whatever. Like for me, 45 minutes, it's like a golden line,
Yeah.
like
What was
where
Show No Mercy,
it's
Ed? What do we always say? Show No Mercy was how long? 30 something minutes or some shit?
fucking Rain in Blood is like 28
Yeah,
minutes.
28. Ed's on mute right now, so he's talking to him. We can't hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, 28. I didn't even realize I put it on. I did it when you came back. Yeah, and that was the thing. If you remember, that was one of the only
Oh,
cassette tapes
shit,
that
yeah.
played on both sides the same fucking album. That was what we loved as a kid. Remember it would when your
Yeah,
tape
because
deck would flip to the next side
you don't
automatically.
need to use a fucking
It just
pencil to
started raining
rewind it.
blood over,
Pencil.
where usually it was
just
what,
like
4 or
put it
5
hat
songs.
twice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and later on in life, we were lucky enough to not have to stop the cassette player, take it out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
reverse
yeah,
it, and
yeah,
then start playing it. Later on, they
yeah, yeah,
automatically jumped to
yeah,
the
yeah.
other
So
side. But for Rain and Blood, it was the same
yep.
record over and
Yep. So
over.
you know, like I
But
don't
that was
like
one of the
long
first and
records,
only
and I think
records that
like
ever did
maybe
that.
it's not the quantity but the quality, you know, that counts really. So like you know, if you have you know 30 minutes
Exactly.
of material that's all killer, no filler, why you should add something more that you know? So oh, some say like oh, it's too short. It's only 30 minutes. We have to add some like whatever 10 minutes more, and then it just becomes stuff that everyone skips. So why just put time and effort? Just concentrate on the material that is like good and you know all
Exactly.
your essence put at and even it's like if it's you know like that's why sometimes I appreciate like EPs that like bands do because like okay we have 5 or 6 songs that are fucking killer. That's fine for me. I don't need to skip or you know
I think we're going to
fill
see a
in.
lot more of that now. I think EP it's going to be more of a EP time period where bands aren't doing full lengths anymore.
Well, remember when Suffocation put out Human
It's
Waste? That
amazing
fucking
record.
record,
So
from what was it? It wasn't even 18 minutes,
great.
maybe 20. From front to back, they knew we got these
I
songs.
think
This is all
like
we
you know
got.
like
Let's just put
uh
this out. And
uh
dude, that fucking record
um
was just,
fucking
or
what's
EP
the
was
Legion of
amazing.
Veracity, yeah. No, Effigy of the Forgotten. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So I think that even that album for me has some fillers
Yes.
in that album. You know, I know that some of that stuff is from Human Waste, and then some even on that album. It's but don't get me wrong, I love that record. It's fucking amazing. But even that has some fillers. So if they would just continue on that, for me personally, on that you know Human Waste path, that will be fucking from top to bottom like perfect album. Even though it is still, but just my own observation, you know.
Yeah, I know. I definitely see what you're saying. And so you guys are hanging around 30-minute mark, which is good. Who do you guys? Where did you guys set? So you did all the recording. Let's start out with. Obviously, we're going to get. So we can even mention this now. I know you're going to university for engineering and stuff.
Yep.
You recorded this whole new album yourself, right? Pretty much. You sent it out for mastering.
Not exactly. Like I had from my good friend, fellow engineer Augustinus, really be helped because, well, I could have recorded it myself, but it'll be way too fucking much for me because, like, the reason also why I'm not mixing it, mastering myself, I created the songs. I spent so much time on like recording it, making demos, making pre-production, adjusting things, remixing the
Your ears
demos and
get burnt the
stuff.
fuck out.
I just cannot like make good decisions on what it's gonna be, what should sound, because you know sound engineering is also crafting the song, you know, and you need to have a fresh set of ears to do that. And mine is all blurry, and I cannot do this. At the same time, with recording myself, that stuff is also like I need fresh ears because like sometimes the people can hear things that you are no longer hearing that are there, you know. So I asked a help from a friend, and it was way worth it because it was also like why I missed this, why I missed that, we didn't this and that and blah blah blah, you know. And so no, I did not record it myself. I can do the stuff with the music that I'm not 100% into making of, you know, uh, in the process of making it. Then I can do decision stuff. But for my own stuff, because I lived with that album for almost 2 years, day in day out. So it was just a logical decision to get help from someone.
And when do you think that this album will see the light of day? Just to estimate, because I know
Uh,
there's a lot of shit that has to get people who don't know how much stuff, how much hoops there is to jump through before you put out the album the right way. I mean, just from artwork to from labels to whatever else, like what would you say? Probably late 2024, would you say?
um, I, um, you know, this day and age, like to say dates are so useless because I don't know, maybe. I hope so. Maybe earlier. I have no idea. Maybe it's gonna be even 2025. I hope not, but anything can happen. So it's hard to predict right now because there's too many variables, during that time. So not sure, but we hope so. That's gonna be out this year.
Yeah. So you guys did. So in 2023, you guys kept busy. You guys did a couple of the shows that I know. I know you guys did the Helsinki Fest, right, in Finland, with
Yes,
Cancer, Benediction, Rotten Sound, and a bunch of other bands. You guys did a spring mini tour, if I'm correct, too. The Spring Offensive, is
yeah,
that correct? Yeah.
yeah, yes.
So what do you guys? What we will mention is what I do know is, and this actually deals with both bands, Luctus and Crypts of Despair. You guys will be playing in Chicago in October, correct?
Yes, but we'll have to cut this because it's not announced yet.
Oh shit!
So
See,
yeah,
see,
yeah, yeah. With
wait.
Crips, it's not
So wait, let me.
announced yet.
What do
So
I have to say over again? Let me start this. So I'm going to leave Crips
yeah,
out. Okay. Okay. I'll start
yeah,
this
yeah,
over. Ed, write down the time right here. 1:53. It's my fault. I think I
yeah,
should
yeah,
have
yeah,
known. I should
yeah.
have asked him this.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mention this
Fucker.
because he's gonna announce us only in either February or March.
Okay. So this is
So
1:53, Ed. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to repeat myself
yeah,
now. Okay.
yeah, yeah. What do you
So I
say?
know with Crips, right? You guys are playing in Chicago at the Metal Threat in 2024. What can you tell us about that?
I mean, what can I tell? We're gonna play
Well,
there.
that's not the fucking answer we're looking for. No, I'm joking.
It's like I don't know. I
You
mean,
son of a
I mean,
bitch.
yeah, we are fucking. Of course, we are so excited to be there. It's gonna be the first time for us. For some people, it's gonna be first time in the country in
Yeah, you've
general.
been in
So
America before. We talked
I've
about
been
that,
there.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you've been
I've
there.
been.
You're an old hat now.
My father is living there, and my other relatives living there. So in Chicago, we call that like a small Lithuania, because like 200K Lithuanians living there, or even more. So it's a big community and stuff like that. So yeah, so we're going to show.
Well, don't worry about it.
You're not
You went to
dangling from a
Juarez,
bridge
so
now with your throat slit, so
Chicago
you're
should feel
okay,
pretty
man.
fucking
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
close. Don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah. So we are excited, of course.
Just
Like
kidding, Chicago. That's just
we,
just
when
a
I
joke.
got that message from him, like email that he wants to invite us, it's like, what the fuck? Of course, like I could not believe it, because like we as Lithuanians as a band, and I mentioned this in some other interviews as well. Like Lithuania is a country. Like some of it, but probably Ed doesn't know anything about our metal like scene,
He does from
because
me
like,
now, but yeah.
but in general it's not, because metal started a long time ago, and we, because of all the situations, like political situations that we had, we don't have any traditions, in that genre. Because like, if you go to any metalhead, like in US, whatever, any, and you mention Sweden, he can immediately say at least 10 bands, like right from the top, like one,
Norway, same
Entomb,
shit. Yeah.
Dismember, whatever, Norway. But we don't have. So we are like us and other bands in my country, we're trying to build this now, and when we got this invite, we were surprised, because nobody invites us anywhere. It's so hard for us to get out there, because when someone mentions band from Sweden, then, oh yeah, because Sweden is like Italian food, it's associates with the quality, it's gonna be good, and some one way or another. When someone mentions our country name, it's like, what?
But let me say
I
this. Let
never
me
heard
interrupt
name.
you for one
So
second and say this. One thing I noticed about Lithuania, and you can actually, Dovydas, probably back me up on this, maybe. So I'm going to say in Florida, more than I remember from Jersey, because I was much younger during my Jersey time period. Lithuania has less bands, but some really solid fucking bands. Like it's almost like less than where in Florida we have, we have some great bands in Florida, but we have a band on, everybody's in a band, right? Here, would you say it's kind of a more quality than quantity thing here? Like, because I noticed myself even here, like there's not, like I said, Florida, we have, Ed, how many bands? I mean, there's just tons and tons of bands. Everyone's in five bands.
Well, and again, yeah, that's exactly like what he was talking about earlier. How he was in this band and that band and that band because you do it because it was the thing to do. It's cool. You get to play in killer bands. Now
There's a lot of
I
bands in
I
mean,
think it
Florida. Here,
was
it's not like that. Here,
I'm
it's
just going
like
to
you
play in
have.
every band
I
so I
mean,
can
I
be on
just how
every
I see
show.
it from an outsider. So maybe
I mean
Dovydas,
that's
you
what it
can
seems
clear it
like.
up. But that's how I see it. Less.
No,
I mean, I'm not here like to judge any bands or whatever, and taste is all subjective thing. So, but it's just like I don't know. It's for example, like you take Iceland. The population of that country is less than Kona's. It's like 200 something K, but they have so many bands there and a lot of very good quality bands as well. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because we didn't have, and we didn't have in the past like all this access to all these bands. We didn't have anyone to learn from in our country. To be like okay, you're from Florida. Okay, you have Morbid Angel. Like what do we have here? No one. You know. So maybe it's because like reaching out to all these bands from overseas, or whatever, makes it to strive for quality more, and stuff. Because we all are like very critical, like about our music and stuff, and we're like very self-conscious about it, and maybe that's the reason. Because like I will never ever like put out the shit that I'm unless I'm 110% sure that I like it. So
Well, me and Dovydas were talking earlier today, and one thing about Crypts of Despair, Luctus, or the bands that he's involved with, and I have to say, and I was telling Dovydas this earlier. You could just tell like there's a lot of thought, and the merchandise looks killer. The artwork is very thought out. Nothing is just there's not really any filler thrown in. It's kind of like it's very like I said, it's very professionally taken, and that's what I've noticed from you guys. From both bands actually. Because if I look at like the Luctus, I told you like when I see a Luctus T-shirt around, which you see a lot of those here if you go to the festivals and stuff like that. They're just very professional, very sharp looking, and just they just fit they really do fit the sound of the band. Having heard the bands before and listened to the bands, that it's almost like there's a lot of thought, like a lot of thought gone into this. Like I will say with Dovydas is one thing I've noticed with you guys is you really do, as we mentioned earlier in this show, the artwork is almost as it's not as important as the music, but it ranks right up there, like neck and neck. Because
yeah, it's pretty close
how many fucking albums
because
have you went and bought in a store because of the album cover back in the day, Ed? We've always talked
a
about
lot,
this, a
a
shitload of
lot.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what resonates, with the
we've had
people.
that
It's not
conversation on
only
many
it's
shows.
it's really disappointing to hear the fucking extreme dark killer music, and then you see the artwork is just like fucking bunnies or whatever like this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so disappointing. So you gotta have like a full package. And in regards to merch and all the visuals, when we do the merch, it's also pretty painful process, but because like we want to put out the stuff that we would like to buy. Because in the end of the day, all the bands are merch salesmen.
We're
So
all t-shirt salesmen, as they say at the end of the day. That's how
yeah,
we make our money. I mean, that's
we are almost like H&M employees, or
yeah.
whatever shit. So yeah, so like I want to like
Yep.
I'm not against the people that are wearing their own band merch, except when they're playing on the stage. I don't like that. It's like a bit, like jerking off in front of the mirror. But when outside of the stage and stuff like that, it's okay. And the thing is that I want to create the
Right.
merch that I would like to wear myself. I would like to buy myself, because like if you in making of this and you think like I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy this, then it means that anyone else outside of the band, they also will have the same thoughts. So let's just make it good quality as much as you can, and you will be satisfied, and and people are gonna buy it and they enjoy it, and will be
Now, would
wearing
you
you. It's
agree,
like
as like a
advertising.
current,
So
as a band guy, like we all are? I'm so, how important physical product is. Like I fucking hate. Like I'm not into the. I know you have to have a download version of the album. I get it. I know I have to come terms with the times. I realize that me and Ed basically are fossils. In a way compared to like what's the. So I'm so big on like the physical, the LP, and I know personally for my releases, I always tell everybody I'm like has to be an LP version, has to be,
it has to be. I
has to
mean,
be
because
right.
like
How
as you
important is
can
that to
see,
you?
like is like you see back, I have like over like 400 records at least, like physical
Yeah, it's
formats behind me. So, I mean, that's that's like the other glimpse in like or the touch of the band, like because when you take LP like brand new, you can you
smell it. You
can
open it up, and it's
yes, yes, all this, all you connect all the senses, that you have. Then you can see the lyrics, you can see like really the work that the band put in, and you can read, you can see the lyrics, okay, and like whatever graphics or pictures there, it's like okay, that's symbol or that whatever it means. So you can get like connection with the band as well on that level, and representation, because it's like sometimes I even buy like vinyls like over there, it's just like it's like a picture,
yeah,
on a wall. It's like just like a decoration as well, and it's all adds to your uh, over like experience with the band, so it's very important, like all the visuals, lyrics, and it's not just on the music, because if it's only the music matters to you, then don't release any physical records, nothing, it's like just don't do this. Some people do, and that's okay, but for me, no, I like to have the real thing in my hands.
I agree 100%. If I like the record, I'm gonna buy it. Even if it's, I'll buy the usually the record, the vinyl of it or something.
Agreed.
Because when I was growing up, I even remember being a kid. Like my uncle had fucking 8 tracks, all the Black Sabbath 8 tracks and shit downstairs, and I would just go through and just look at them. And to me, it was like the most amazing thing. And to this day, sometimes I'll still go into my office here where I have all my records, and I'll be like, "Damn, man, I remember." Because I kept all my shit. I'm like, I remember this from when I picked it up at this record store. Or Ed, we talk about when you would go to Aces Records back in Tampa and buy stuff. Like this is all stuff that you relate. You kind of put. For me, a record usually has like a timeline of like even events in my life that I remember. Like I remember the first Deicide record. I could tell you like 20 different events back then that were going on. That was the I relate it with these releases and stuff. So I mean, I think it's very important, and yeah,
See, that's why the music should be taken seriously, and it should not be as a joke, because it connects with you so much. Because even just you said that, each record you can remember some specific
a
events from your
timeline to each
life.
one.
Well, especially if you were in Tampa and you worked, went to Aces
That's the
Records,
thing,
because David Vincent and James Murphy worked in the store. It was as a weekend. They were at a flea market on the weekend, and then that's like it was. I mean, I could remember pretty much everything that they recommended. Walking in there when they had new stuff, you would talk to them. You knew when stuff was
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
They would tell you, "Hey, it's coming. Come next week." You look forward to that. Now it's just whatever.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
just got
I
to
mean,
find it.
now everything is
Most of the time,
online,
you got to order
and
this shit because ain't
I'm
nobody local
I'm
got it.
kind of okay with
I
that,
mean,
because
that's
I'm
just the way
still
it
have
is.
my old ways of finding the
Yep.
bands around, and whatever changes in the industry, it doesn't change my ways. I'm still gonna go to the record stores if it's possible. I have like there are like in Vilnius
Yeah, you
couple
guys have some
shops
cool
they
ones
can
in the
still.
Old Town area, which I've seen actually some of your releases at over in the.
Yeah, and there is like a one guy as well that I bring Crypts records, and he
It's
sells
probably the one
them
I'm
in the
talking.
shop
The
as well.
basement store that you go down into the
Yeah, yeah,
basement. Yeah,
yeah,
I've been there
yeah,
before.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
talked to that guy.
yeah. So it's really cool, and like whatever the industry changes, I'm still buying the records and still doing this. It's like just I
Now, is
enjoyed
that a
it.
requirement for you with Crips and stuff? Because I know personally, like I said, for me, like if I'm going to release something with a label, I kind of want to at least know that it's going to have this format or that format. Are you the
Yes,
same
yes, for
way? You're like,
sure,
hey man, we have
for
to have a
sure.
12-inch, we have to have a CD.
Yes, I mean the cassette. It's
Cassettes,
optional
like
for me.
.
Yeah, it's more like audiophile, like audiophile
Well, dude,
thing, But
we just had Alvar on last week from the or this week from the Caveman Cult, which I think you actually saw when you were in the
yeah,
States.
yeah,
We had Alvar
yeah.
on, and even he said, yeah, like we put out shitloads of tapes, love them. I never listened to them. He's like, I don't have a tape player, but it's like there's just people who want those fucking
It's
tapes.
just
It's
like a
just like,
relic, Like you
yeah,
have this,
it's
like, yeah, I had this, man. So yeah, but vinyl and CD for me is important because, like, as you can see in the back now, I have a CDs, right, and vinyl. So CDs are for cars and
yeah.
like casual whatever playing, and the vinyls are more for like own pleasure or special
I was bummed out
occasions
when cars
or
stopped having
whatnot.
CD players now. Like I was renting some cars in the States when we were traveling. Like there was no more CD players. I was like, oh my god, am I that fucking old? Like
Yeah, yeah. So but you
but
got like CD player and vinyl player, and you can because like vinyls maybe also regards to this day and age, like with the attention span being so small, like so short. Vinyls, for example, they uh, you have to listen through the whole record.
because you're gonna have to
You
flip it in
cannot
20 minutes.
skip only that, but you
Yeah.
cannot like skip 10 seconds and 20
Nope.
seconds. You're like you have to do this. So it's also like becomes a part of the ritual as well, like to put on and you have to listen to, because you cannot skip, you cannot like you can stop, but if you take off the needle, you have to go back again from the beginning. So
And
it all
goddamn, how
adds to the
many?
experience.
I know we were talking about EPs and stuff and albums, but like, how many? For me personally, how many records did I buy back in the day because of a song or two that I got into, and then wound up liking the other songs the B-side songs that you don't even like. You're not even more. I guess you could say you're not even marketed to back then. Are some of your favorite songs eventually because you find those tracks that like no one seems to care about, but they're more killer than the tracks that everyone cared about, and that's like the gem of it all, I think. So I
Yeah,
mean,
that's why on the vinyls back in the day was B-sides, because
yeah,
all the good shit that's coming first, and then if you like to listen to that, you can flip to the B-side, and
yeah, exactly. So
so
that's how it rolls. So we got okay. So Crypts of Despair, new stuff coming out eventually soon, and soon. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
Luctus again. We're going to be recording very soon, so that's cool, man. I'm hoping to see you guys around the town here very soon. And yeah, I mean, and before we, a couple things I wanted to ask you because I've taught you plenty of times, and I always say I'm like Dovydas may know more about the scene that we're from than we know half the time. So we got asked a
Okay.
question last week on our last show. What was it, Ed? What do you think is the best? Which I'll ask you the same question that we got asked from a listener. I can't remember where the hell he was from though, but it was, what do you think is the biggest or most important debut out of the Tampa area or Florida area back in the day? It's a tough one, right?
Whoa, that's a fucking wow.
I can tell you who we chose, or you want us to wait, because we chose. You're wearing a shirt right now. I'll tell you that. That's who I chose personally. I think Ed kind of agreed with me that the first deicide to me was like, at my listening, was the most important gateway
Okay,
drug.
so we have to go through maybe it cannot be like there is a beginning. Like if we talking about death metal, right? There's a beginning. There's also like debates like who's the first death metal album? Is it Scream Bloody Gore or Seven Churches?
That's
Like
always the big
like
one, right? I mean, which me and
that's
you've
a
talked about that
debate.
off record actually. So I kind of
Yeah, yeah. So and then like there's a that stage. Then there is like late 80s and then the early 90s. So and they're all different and they're all very important. But in my opinion, I think that might be Scream Bloody Gore. I
okay.
think so because like it had it's still like okay, the first Def record, it's not Altars of Madness, right? It's different, but it had all those key elements that were incorporated and then expanded by all these other bands that went after them.
Right for it with
So
Autopsy afterwards, even leaving there. I mean,
I mean, because like it's okay. So the beginning would be like Scream Bloody Gore for me, and then probably like late '80s might be Altars of Madness, because that record in general was the drumming was on a
it's a
level that
flawless record.
nobody ever seen or heard. Because Pete there, like all the current say like trends or whatever ways of making this music was on that record already. So because like some people say like Cannibal Eaten Back to Life, I think it's not that record for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you go back, yeah, it's buff.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. They were still
Well, they're not Florida.
from New York,
This
but
was a
Buffalo.
Florida
But
centric.
we went with
Yeah, this
Deicide
is a
first
from
Florida
because to
centric
me,
Florida.
thing.
I would
So
say Deicide only because that's the first thing that really
yeah.
caught
So
me.
I mean,
I mean,
that's what
D-side, the David album.
that's what sent me on my
It's
path.
also like some fucking see wearing me this T-shirt as well right now, but like I still think it's from Florida from that time probably would be Altars of Madness, because like this side went into other direction, but I think in my opinion that's the record that made all the like it's a textbook,
I can't
how
disagree
to
with
make a
you. Yeah, I
good
can't disagree with
fucking death
that.
metal record. It all had atmosphere. It had all the ferocity, and riffing, all the elements that you look for in this music. You got it all in that one package.
Now, did
And
you
D
like
side was
Legion
another
better
beast.
than the first Deicide, or would you go Legion or the first Deicide?
I go the first one.
No.
Yeah, I mean Legion. It's also fucking amazing record. I still have like a first press on the CD where it was like Road Runner records, so
Yeah.
not Road Racer. Oh, Road Racer. Sorry, it was Road Racer, not the Runner. But maybe the Legion lacks a bit better production.
Yep.
So that's why probably back in the day when it was released, it was hated and not understood at that time. It had to grew on people. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, those two records are also different. Just Legion is a fucking technical beast. Like how they played those songs. I tried, myself, like to pick it off and just to play some of that stuff. I was just fuck no. I just cannot do this. Like no, it's just insane. But like from Tampa, like Deicide, the first album, like Morbid Angel, right? It's totally different because Deicide is like the first, and Legion and the first album is more on the bestial side of things.
Oh yeah.
It's because Authors of Madness, like it's precise. It's, I mean, still like raw sounding, but in terms of execution and the whole vibe of it, it's still precise, and we could say maybe it's a bit like clinical, like some with like made with a scalpel. This side is very wild, and it's probably like all over the place there, but it has that. That's what's beautiful about it. It has that raw fucking demonical energy about it. So it's hard to debate, but I probably would say Morbid Angel, Authors
Yeah.
of Madness.
No, Altars of Madness is a great record. We had, I mean, Florida itself, a Malevolent Creation. We always love, those bands like that. No, obviously Obituary, the Slowly We Rock,
But
Cause of Death.
sorry to put it in front, but the Retribution is way better than Ten Commandments, in my opinion. So it's the second record. So you cannot like, oh, okay, maybe some like more Ten Commandments, but for me, Retribution, I think it's also the first album with Raw Barrett there as well, and it had like more essence to me. The Ten Commandments, maybe some laid back a little bit. Some songs like more thrashy vibes, I guess, maybe. So, but Retribution for me is the second. For them, is the second album, so it cannot be considered as first. So
How about with Slowly We Rock, Cause of Death? What would you be? Or
oh, cause of that for sure. That's no brainer. I mean, I love Slowly We Rot, but as they said themselves, it was like lyrics were made up in recording, and it's not even like real lyrics and shit like that. It's good. It has that, rotten atmosphere, but Cause of Death is like perfection, at least from there. Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, in
it's
that
all
sense, yeah.
perspective because I
I
think
mean,
Leprosy is better
if
than Scream Bloody Gore. So but if you were a person who
but
was into the
Leprosy has
faster,
more
then Scream Bloody Gore
more
was faster
dynamics, but
in
also is
some
a bit
regards.
more slimy, I guess.
Dynamics.
It's better, but it still has
It's
that,
polished. It's polished because the
some
production was
songs
better.
has that, I could say, like sour face riffs, so I was just listening to, fuck yeah. So you can.
Yep. Yep. Good shit. Listen, man, we grew up in a time. I did. My
I
son's
wish too.
21. Tony
I
knows
wish
this,
I'm
man.
I'm only
He
30
always
right
like, oh,
now,
I wish I
so
grew up then. I'm like,
And I can't disagree with that, Ed, though, because I
I'm
have
like,
to admit,
nah.
as much as we don't like getting older and stuff, we
Enjoy
really
it.
did grow
Enjoy
up
what
in a
you have.
great time period where we didn't even realize back then when we were seeing bands like the Ripping Corpses and these bands, we had no idea what we were seeing even, but it was just awesome and it was a different vibe, like. I mean, think about the shows we saw at the Brass Mug in Tampa.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, getting to play with these bands, and
Well,
now I feel fortunate.
Getting to play in them.
Yeah, you played in some of them.
No, I'm talking about I got to play in some of these bands, like personally. So like, that I look back, sometimes I look back and go, it wasn't
yeah,
that bad,
some
man.
there the
Even though some of the stuff
Yeah,
was,
so
even during that
whatever.
time, even that time,
My history. Tony
there
knows
were
what I'm
a
talking
bunch
about,
of
but
like shitty
some of the
bands as
shit I
well,
did was like,
so
were you
sure,
more of
sure,
a Barnes guy or a Corpse Grinder guy?
oh,
Me,
sure,
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
it's just incomparable. I'm not talking about Barnes right now. It's like this is different fucking me story, but
Yeah.
but it's too different.
It was
You
it was
cannot.
different. Yeah, it was completely different.
God.
It's way too different. It's still Cannibal,
Right.
because they progressed, and it's almost like same for Crypts, changing the singer, because like that's the way, like the way they felt about Barnes back then, despite all the like personal things, but musically the same way I felt about myself during this period as well.
Yeah, because you
So
replaced yourself in your own band. Like you actually
yeah,
went and got a singer and replaced yourself as the singer. Who and Dovydas killed it. Like I've seen Crips at I don't know what year it was. But it was at actually Lemmy's probably like 4 or 5 years ago maybe.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been around that time period. So you basically replaced your vocals with somebody else. But you were saying, to go back to that, what you were saying was kind of honorable. You said it was because it was taken away from your guitar playing. You felt like.
Yes, yes. It's also the same thing that I wanted to play better. So I realized that during the period that I was no longer able to do both things good. So it was like half-assed vocals during the live and half-assed guitar playing. If I chose to do better guitar, then the vocals were very shitty. If I do opposite, it was also bad. So just decided to fuck it. And so getting back to the other things, like I think, damn, I would like, I heard the Vile album. It was there is like on the internet the Vile album songs with Chris Barnes as well. I think it's a what's the name, like fuck it, I don't remember. It was like that they released it, all the Vile songs. What's the name
Oh, the
was
Cannibal
first?
Corpse that they released vinyl, the Vile album.
Yeah, it was leaked tracks.
Oh
I don't
yeah, because
remember
that's
what's the
actually
name.
I think that's the
Yeah, it was
stuff
leaked. It
I
was
haven't got this
leaked.
far. I believe that's
Somebody
actually
leaked
in that Scott
the
Burns book that they actually
Yeah,
recorded
yeah. So
and
basically, they recorded the whole, like, or half of the Vile album with Barnes. Yeah, it was
A bunch of them.
Created to Kill. It was the like original name. So I heard those songs and they didn't sound that good, you know. So I think in the long term, I'm for Corpse Grinder because he's an amazing vocalist in general and how he does the things. But you know, Cannibal wouldn't be the same without Chris as well.
It's weird with Chris because I always have, and Ed knows this personally. I have a like with Chris, I have a certain, I don't know how to put it, like a soft spot in for Chris in a way because in I forget what was it 2000 Ed I put on a concert for James Murphy, a James Murphy benefit back in the day. 2002 or 2003. I put on a benefit in St. Pete, Florida, and we had
it was 2000.
So it was 6 Feet Under. Who else played that? I fucking forget who. It was a shitload. I feel bad. I'm forgetting this. No, Monstrosity was gonna play, but it didn't happen. That was a whole nother.
Did Monstrosity play?
Yeah, that was a whole nother thing too.
Right.
But the thing was
supposed
is that
to be
Chris,
Diabolic
because
then
which was a big part of Terry Butler too, actually at the time, because 6 Feet Under was just putting out a record that year. We had Uranium, which was like this music television's place in the States that was really popular for metal shows. They flew down for the show that I was putting on. And Chris, actually, I have to say, like, Chris was a great sport, Ed. You remember during that. Me and Chris went on the radio together and did promos. And he was totally like, they didn't get paid for it or anything. He was totally like, I mean, and Terry was great too. They donated a bunch of merch. But I remember 6 Feet Under came in, played the show for us that night, didn't get paid, donated a shitload of their merchandise. So whenever with Chris, you know, I only remember, I remember being at the radio station, Chris pulling up in his little fucking, like, this little hippie car. Because Chris was totally, like, into this kind of stuff. And he was, I can't say anything bad about him, man, because he was cool. Yeah, the car dealership commercial too. Yeah, I remember that.
He did that.
You know, but I mean, that's what's so weird with like, some people. I know there's not some people who don't like Chris and this and that, but for me, I have this thing where I just remember Chris being a good guy and donating his time and doing this shit that he didn't have to do and being very like cool about it. But I mean, you know, like I said, it's all history now. But those bands it's such a great time. It's such the legacy of albums that came out, and a lot of them with Scott Burns, as we said. I've been reading the book now, and Scott had his finger on so much of that sound back then, which we talked about too, Darius. Right? Like you could tell Scott Burns record.
In my opinion, like Scott Burns should be a fucking millionaire by now, because like he created the history. He was the only one that made this music work, that had like so much impact on culture in general, and at that time he still was living on scraps, you know. That's like the saddest sound engineer story I have ever heard. I know that he got mentioned a lot and stuff like that, but you know, he should have a fucking Grammy or something for this, because he created the whole fucking genre.
You could tell a Scott Burns album when you hear it.
Like fucking, he should get that. It's like, I remember, like, I saw like, or I think maybe there's like a podcast from
the Hellcat, right, or something like that, from the
the guys from Redefining Darkness, the label that there is like on the States. They did this like, and with the Scott, they did it, and he said like, well, you know, like I didn't have much money, I didn't make any of the records, like any money from the records, and he basically like almost stopped doing the music because of because he didn't have any much more money, didn't see any perspective like in his life with that. And that's a guy who fuck.
Well, actually, but he appreciated it. He was doing those records. That was the great thing about Scott Burns. He actually liked the music when he started doing them, though, which was kind of like, out of all the guys that were doing it, he was the one dude that, in his book, I mean, he
said it also, like, he didn't like it at first.
Yeah.
And then he got into it because he was interested in, like, aspect of technical music and how it's performed and stuff like that. And then later on, he got into, maybe he's not into that right now, I'm not sure, but still in general, like, he should be a fucking millionaire
Well,
by
he
right
loved
now.
the.
So.
I was reading that like when the DSI did their first record, like he loved the whole. Like, he was not a religious guy. He loved the whole questioning and the lyric wise and stuff like that. And we were talking about Ed, which I thought was a great story. I think it was from Legion. Was what 91 or not? 91 was the Milwaukee Metal Fest, correct, Ed? When they flew on the plane in full armor. Scott flew with them to Milwaukee for the show,
Yep,
and Deicide
yep.
had the full fucking armor on. And it was just a great
The
story.
classic ones, like
yeah, the
it's like
classic ones from
silver.
Milwaukee, the silver, and they wore
Yeah.
them on the plane. This is before 9/11, so not everyone was flipping a shit yet, but people were not happy. I mean, you could picture Glenn if you remember that outfit he had on. I mean, it was
Did he have that burnt cross on the forehead?
No,
Oh,
yeah.
fucking hell, man!
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that should like fucking.
Oh yeah,
That was still maybe
Yep.
even like
That was
the,
fresh.
infection and possible.
Yeah, that was fresh.
Yeah, on the back. Yeah, that should be brutal.
Yeah, but imagine that. Now you would never be able to fly on a plane with the full armor on back then, but they were heading
Oh,
to
hell
Milwaukee
no,
in the full
no,
armor.
no.
I mean,
No.
that was a great time period, and it's a great book if anybody hasn't checked it out yet. Those Scott Burns sessions, I got to say, I've been flipping back and forth through it, man, and there's some really good stuff, and it's just cool because, like we said, those albums are, to us, especially to us guys, it's so important, and to hear these stories behind them, like when X-Order was recording Slaughter in the Vatican, to hear some of these tales and stuff, it's just like, it's just
Yeah,
cool,
it's,
man.
it's
you
amazing.
know? Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
It's a staple in our time. That's the key. If you didn't live it, you don't know. You may be able to read up, but if you weren't there to see the stuff we saw, at least the stuff I saw,
yeah.
'cause
Did
where I
you practice in
practiced,
those
as
red
we've talked
Yes,
about
with the
before,
orange
that
doors, we all
fucking
practiced there, man.
storage.
Yeah.
It's like
had every fucking day.
45
Yeah.
Celsius degrees.
There's
hot
videos
and
of like
rats
Nocturnus
crawling
and shit.
around.
Like there's videos of Nocturnus with Browning when he was young. But yeah, those are the spots where everybody played at. I mean, that was the practice spaces. I mean, we also practiced in Audio Lab next to Cannibal. I
Yep.
remember Audio Lab, Ed. We were practicing over there with
So
we were
yeah,
sharing a
I
room with
mean,
Diabolic back then for a very short period of time.
yeah,
Yeah,
I did that too,
That's
twice. Yeah,
That's-
I did it with twice. Yeah, because the first time
Yeah,
I did it
that's,
with
you know-
Brutality when they first opened up. So yeah,
all the venues.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
was,
it's like
yeah,
you
again,
guys been there in the
staple in
beginning,
time, man,
so
all the bands,
for
all
you
that
it's
stuff,
different.
so.
For me, it's just like.
But you
You
know
know,
more than
I
most of
can-
us do. I talk to you and I'm
But-
like, where the fuck do you know this shit from?
But like just out of the love for this music.
Well, don't
out of
listen to Tony.
the passion, because like, and I see why some people are like very nostalgic about this thing because like to be a witness of how it started, and you are like up close to hold this scene, and the things that nobody knows, they can just assume that's amazing. Like it's just you probably. Yeah,
Oh,
all
seeing-
these or
seeing the Amons
pre-obituary,
and the
pre-decide things,
executioners and the yeah, I mean,
they
seeing
were
them all
fucking
at
kids,
the,
like
Ravage
16,
before they were
17.
atheist. I mean,
Nasty
it's all-
Savage was playing all those bands. We
the
talked
early-
about this
the early
episodes ago.
Brutality
Like you
before
go see
any of the
Nasty
dudes were-
Savage. and,
Sabotage
like,
and
Obituary be taking their bikes there, or
Yeah,
Sabotage
man.
was playing at Mantis, all that stuff. And for Ed,
Mantis, what
Ed was
the
in Tampa
fuck?
before I was. I was in.
Mantis.
So I saw more of like
Mantis,
I saw a
you know?
lot of that scene, but I was even in Jersey more when that was like the Ripping Corpses and the bands like that, where Revenant were going on and stuff. So
Did did Possessed had the band
Mhm.
before Possessed, or it was like straight Possessed?
I think it was Possessed, right, Ed? I believe it was.
It didn't have like anything.
There's a
like
question
Death
for you,
Like Mantis.
Dovius.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
let's
always
ask
been,
the,
as far as
the
I'm
question that
concerned, I think that
everybody
was always
fucking
the
asks,
name.
because I don't really have a. I mean,
No,
what was
Because no,
the
usually
first?
all these bands they have like a
pre-name.
band,
Yeah, execution.
or something like this.
Well,
I don't
Amon, you know
man.
why they changed their name, because when you were talking about the label earlier, because of King Diamond, they were kind of like they were on that same label, so it was kind of
Yeah,
like, hey
yeah.
man, we need you to switch over, I guess.
King Diamond.
But so what was the first
that was a
death
good-
metal band to
good
you, or
decision,
first death
Sam.
metal album? Are you going Seven Churches, or what are you going there?
No. For me, also, I'm gonna be very controversial right now, but Possessed for me is not the death metal album. Sorry, guys, but it's just it's thrash metal. Just because they have a title in the song death metal, it doesn't mean that that's death metal. Okay, it's a bit darker, but Rain in Blood is even more ferocious than fucking Seven Churches. But you don't consider that death metal, so I'm gonna be controversial on that. But for me, the first death metal album I heard, it's probably gonna be Butcher the Birth. That was my first thing that I heard, and I was like, when the Barnes from, I remember like hearing the Butcher's Birth and then Eaten Back to Life. I was like, what the fuck? Is that the same vocalist? Like, it's so different, It's like that's. I remember like I even hated that album in the my early ages. Cause like that's not fucking death metal. Like no, it's just it's the fuck that. But then I got to understand it and stuff like that. But yeah, Butcher the Birth was my first introduction to that.
Okay. So, and for people who are not familiar with the Lithuania area, besides you're in most of these bands, but what would be a few bands you would recommend that people don't really, I mean, have an idea of, basically?
Oh, all right. So, in terms of death metal, we don't have any other bands. Like, this genre here, it's I think maybe because of you have to really work on your craft to make this music sound good and make it happen. And some people maybe are lazy and do not want to invest their time to gain skills to perform that music actually well. But another like death metal band, there is like it's a really fucked up name to say for English speakers, but it's Strangulatus. So
There you go,
there
Ed. Repeat
are
that 3 times.
Strangulatus, so it means like a strangler. So they're playing like old school death metal, like mixed a little bit with the grindcore, sort of. I don't know, maybe. And they are on Horror, Pain, Gore, Death
Oh
Productions
yeah,
label.
we put out a record through them. Okay, Mike
Yeah.
Giuliano.
So yes. So they're playing like you know m- mid-pace, fast to fast, like death grindish metal, like in the veins of Coffins or Old Exhumed stuff like that. This and basically from death metal, that's it. Nothing else.
Lack of fucking
So
drummers. I always say, I always ask Dovydas, and if any drummers listening to this from Lithuania, please
It's
contact
crazy.
us. I've been looking for a drummer instead. I'm always recording projects in Florida because I don't know. I mean, look, Dovydas, you went to Estonia to find a drummer. So I mean,
yep.
Hey, listen, I didn't even know Estonia had bands
what
Do
until
band
you
we
was
did
it,
remember
the
Ed?
which
tour
band
last
played?
year. And that band was,
Oh
they're
yeah,
like, we're
yeah,
from
yeah. Okay.
Estonia. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
They were intrepid. They're fucking great, man.
yeah. They're cool.
That kid singer, man. That became my
Also,
little
there's like
buddy, man. He was fucking. They were
we have
great.
a lot of
They
like
were great.
disbanded bands are pretty good, like in the grindcore scene as well, like Farshas. It's like translation would be grinded meat, really good grindcore band. And there is RDV, which means not even sure, like like just a space, like not outer space, but space around us or surroundings. So they play like a dark and like a metallic hardcore thing. It's pretty good. Um, Odessus, or how to say in French, Odessu. They play like a post black metal um, genre that's also they executed pretty well. I mean, there we have some solid, really good solid bands. You just need to look up, probably just write down in Mel Archives country Lithuania, and you will find a bunch of it. So
There you go. And so, okay, so and people who are looking for, do you have any? Let's give out the links now for Crypts of Despair, Luctus, whatever you want to promote or send people to the band camps or whatever you guys have. What do you guys have rolling?
yeah, we are on all social medias. Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp. Just write down the Google band's name, and you will find it. We are like all active on that on those pages, and we always um, posting new stuff there. So follow up for news to come there.
Cool, man. And when you get the new record, Crypts of Despair is ready to come out, you're welcome to come back on. Of course, we are. Me and you keep in touch and stuff. And I know,
Sure. Maybe we can do like a premiere or something,
yeah. I mean,
specifically on the podcast as well.
you know where to find me and Ed. We are here weekly, and
I have your address in Kona,
you
so
have
I
my
know where to
address.
find
I
you.
always, Dovydas is always giving me shit because I'm like, dude, we got to get together. He's like, yeah, we fucking got to get together. Because I'm always like, I had kids and I disappeared for like 3 years. I think the last time I saw you was what, Kilcom Festival?
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah, last year or something. I saw him at the festival. I think I saw
Yeah.
him at Destroyer 6 before that. But
Yeah, but I know where you live now, so I'll be
yeah,
coming
man.
after you.
Yeah, so no, we'll definitely be getting together, and actually, and congratulations, Dovydas is getting married, which I'll be at the wedding whenever I
Oh
get there,
hell yeah!
getting
Yeah,
married
soon.
and stuff. So man, there's a lot of stuff going on in your life, dude, and we appreciate you coming on our show, man. Like I know we've talked
Thank
about
you
it.
for having me. It's an honor, man. Really glad to know Ed and you. I know for a long
Yeah,
time, so really happy for this opportunity, and I hope the best for your podcast, guys. It was amazing. So
no, man, it's a good time, man, and we
No,
appreciate you
it's
coming on. And
awesome,
those who
man.
haven't checked out Luctus, definitely check them out in Crypts of Despair. I mean, I know Luctus here. I know you guys done the band itself has done like four full lengths, a handful of demos, and they've been around for a long time.
yeah, they've
And
been longer than like when he started because
yeah, someone
similar
that
to
started that like what 2002 or some shit, or was it
no, it's
earlier than that?
2000.
2000.
Yeah. So when he was 16 years old, he started. So I was only 7 at that time. So
You were just picking up the records as we talked about earlier, the CDs.
yes. So we're just starting getting into that shit. So
Yes. So no, but killer band, Crypts of Despair, of course, and we will.
Luctus, Nahash, check this out. It's like Nahash is just to shortly introduce like the one of the oldest black metal bands. They started to play in '91, I guess. And we have also with this band we have drums recorded for the new record as well.
For the Nahash.
So, yes,
Well,
for
this
the
will be the first. This
new
will be the
release.
first album you perform with Nahash, right, on the record,
Yes,
actually, because you've
correct.
done
And
those
I'm
recordings.
gonna
Yeah.
gonna mix it and master it as well. So
Oh, there you go.
it's a bit different with those guys because they're each member has almost like 2 3 kids and good jobs and stuff. So it's way slower than it should be, but it's gonna come out and we're gonna work on this as well. So and with the Cold Embrace, since it's on hiatus, but I have also an album written for it. But since it's just like really a side project for me, so it's gonna be out when it's gonna be a time for it.
You guys
I'm
did
not
your
sure
last show
when.
what last year? You guys did your last show 2022 was the last Cold Embrace gig.
Yeah, actually, it was funny because we were not active anywhere, and some punks from Poland, they found us and they invited us to play. And it was amazing because the show was so fucking wild because it was like old school, like on the ground. Everyone is playing
Oh
like
yeah.
only vocals or something, just in the PAs and shit, and it's just wild. Like
Some of those punk
microphones
shows,
bouncing
man. I know
around.
me and Ed have played some house parties and like with Generic Christ, even in packed houses, and it's just as much as the
Yeah.
sound might kind of suck, it's a
No, it's
fucking
just,
blast.
it's the experience that's important. So yeah,
It's a
um,
blast.
and that's about it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so there you
So
go, man. We got a
no,
lot of stuff going on. Yeah, so be a busy year for you. Like I said, we'll keep everyone updated on this show. And you can check out Cold Embrace, Luctus, Crypts of Despair, and Dovydas. Thanks again, man. We really appreciate you coming
thank
on
you
our
for
show.
having me, guys. It was
Oh,
a pleasure.
definitely. And Ed, we got shit. We got what Thursday? We have
Hell
the
yeah.
guys from the Rods coming on, who have been around for a long time, man. So we got the guys from the Rods coming on Thursday, and we got a
Yes, sir.
bunch of stuff that we're gonna announce coming up that we pretty much got confirmed. We're just trying to figure out times for the end of the month. And yeah, man, we thank everyone who listens to the Tampa Morgue. Yeah, it's a good start. Like, because the end of December kind of slowed down because everyone's on holidays. I know for me, for like 2 weeks, I was just kind of doing the dad thing, which was cool. So we got that. And I will say that, Ed, we did get, I'll pick them up tomorrow. So whoever's listening that I owe Doomsala did demos for, we did get some of those EPs, and I finally got them from Customs because, as Darius, I got to tell you, man, the Customs here is fucking nightmare. Every time I get shit sent to me from the United States, I have to basically like give my whole life story. You have to it's crazy, like dealing with the fucking Customs here. I mean, and no one else cares about Customs, but I will say, fuck you, Customs. It's been a nightmare. But I will have those demos from Doomsala tomorrow, whoever I'm supposed to get them to. But we have, the Rods on Thursday. We got a bunch more coming up. Again, Ed, where can you hear us at?
Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube. Find us on Facebook, sort of, and Instagram.
Yes.
The Tampa Morgue at gmail.com.
And really
Smoke Signal.
Wishing you all the best for your podcast. I can see that you're doing this out of the passion, and
we're just two old geeks now, man, doing it. Yeah, we're,
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, we just know too much shit, and our wives got tired of us talking to them about it, so they told us to go fucking do.
My wife's so tired of hearing like, "Hey,
we walking around the house talking to each other."
Record?
She like, why don't you go do something?
It's same thing. Like, I'm just look at this band, hear this riff at 120. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, my wife has no care.
Nah.
Yeah, they're like, nah.
What was it? I got the songs yesterday from Lee to hear, and I was excited. And she's like, "Can't you go somewhere else and listen to that?"
Dude, I'll tell my wife
first one.
Yeah, you're the first one. I'll tell my wife all the time. I'll be
nobody else is hearing
this. It's Dio. I'll be like, no, it's Black Sabbath. And I actually get annoyed the fact that she can't tell that it's not Dio's solo material. It's the Sabbath. And she's like, go do your fucking podcast. She's like,
no.
Yeah. Go call Ed, but no, like I said, man, Dovydas, we appreciate you coming on.
Go call Ed.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Me and Dovydas are signing out from Lithuania. Any Lithuanian drummers, feel free to contact me.